Dean Legge wrapping up Georgia's 14-3 win over the Cats. Certainly not a stellar day through the air for Georgia. I think you'd like to see fewer turnovers. That's the one thing that Stetson Bennett's going to have to clean up as they get ready for Florida. This is a Georgia team that probably still should beat the Gators, although I'm sure everybody watching this will say that that's not the case. Georgia's offensive line really played well today. Zamir really played well today. 26 carries for 136 yards, 215 on the ground total. James Cook went for about 100 yards total, passing and catching, so he was about 10 yards a touch. Georgia did not have that many explosive plays today, although two big ones, actually really three. The catch by Darnell Washington from Stetson, as well as the 46-yard play from Stetson to James Cook. I would certainly put Zamir's 22-yard touchdown in there as well. So this is a Georgia team that's going to have to get ready for a colossal showdown with the Gators. They're not scoring points the way they would like to. I think the biggest problem with Stetson right now is the turnover inside the red zone. Now the stereotype is going to be the batted ball that gets batted down. Well, that's not nearly as bad as a ball that gets batted and intercepted. So a good play by the kid from Kentucky, but Stetson's got to just not make that play or tuck it and run, whatever. It doesn't matter if you're Stetson or Jake Fromm or Buck Bellew. You can't have turnovers in the red zone, and generally speaking, you can't have turnovers. I mean, this is now 5 turnovers in 2 games. Last year against LSU, Jake Fromm, 3 turnovers against LSU. It's just not it's not good enough. And the other problem with it was today that Georgia has 8 series. That's it, and one of them was barely a series going into the first half. So to give away a quarter of your offensive drives, to end a quarter of your offensive drives with an interception, it just makes it to where your margin of error is much thinner. So I think everybody watching this is probably certain that Florida will win, but I think if you're Georgia, what you have to do is do everything that happened today except don't throw more than 1 interception. If you throw 0, you're probably going to win because Florida's not stopping this run game. 215 yards today against a Kentucky defense that people aren't going to say is good, but they're plenty of trouble if you. I mean, they're physical, tough, hard to deal with. You're not going to get anything for free. That's what I wrote about in Final Feelings. I think that was exactly what happened today. So let's just see. I would still imagine Georgia will be favored over Florida. I want to see the Gators play tonight. This is a program that has not missed a whole week of practice during the middle of the season. Georgia looked at times offensively like it hadn't played practice during the season. So I think there's going to be a lot of discussion about this last 6 quarters of football for Georgia. But I think at the end of the day, this is not like the Georgia teams in the 90s that would kind of show up in Jacksonville and they had a loss and they weren't the better team, or whenever they went down there and it was all on the line and the Gators were the better team. Georgia's the better team. And I think for them, this is about controlling mistakes and the defense doing what it does. If the defense will stop the Gators' run game, it's going to be hard for Florida to really to win. I hate to be that way. Now, can Florida win? Yes, and particularly if they run it, and particularly if there are turnovers, which Georgia has been doing too many of lately. Richard LeCounte needs to continue to play well. I think generally speaking, Georgia's defense played pretty well today, y'all. I mean, 3 points, that's really good. It's hard. People are going to focus on the run game and that the Cats had almost 140 yards rushing. But at the end of the day, if you're only going to give up 229 yards, I mean, there was no time at which Kentucky was threatening Georgia in any real way. They had 3.6 yards per play to Georgia's 6.1. It just wasn't. It did not reflect on the scoreboard how much more that Georgia was better than Kentucky. The one criticism, though, is that if you're Georgia, you need to get off the field. Kentucky converted a few more third downs than you probably would have liked. Some of that was because of the short distance that Kentucky was dealing with. They were not in a ton of third and longs. I'm just going off memory here. I can't remember all of them. But Kentucky was 7 of 16 on third downs. I mean, that's not that bad. Georgia was 5 of 10, so a little under 50, a little under 60%. The Cats a little bit under 50. So, I don't know. But Kentucky converted. And, of course, 2 of those 16 that they didn't convert, 2 of those 9 that they did not convert on third down, Kentucky converted on fourth down. So they did a great job of holding on to the ball, Kentucky, but you got to score. And if you're Georgia and you say next week, hey, what if, we'll let them go up and down the field, but if they only kick field goals, but that's not what it's going to be. They're going to have to force punts. Stetson's going to have to play well, not okay. He's going to have to play well, and that means playing smart. Continuing to do what he's doing in the run game, because that's part of what he does is set things up for the run. But it's just these little mistakes that are coming back to haunt them. Florida has better players, but their defense is not as good as Kentucky's. So individual plays can be made by guys. I do think the injuries were a lot for Georgia today. When you start talking about Rochester, Davis not being out there at all, no George Pickens, no McIntosh, does that hurt you on offense? It didn't seem to hurt the run game, but you need all the bullets in the chambers because Florida has shown the capability to really score, and Georgia did not stop Alabama the way that they needed to. So this is about playing a game where you do not have turnovers. And I think if that happens, Georgia wins the game. But if they go out there and play like they did today, they're pushing it. They're pushing it. Even with 200 yards rushing, they'd be pushing it. So a lot still to clean up. I'm sorry for the way that the field looks behind me. It's got a very odd shadow. Dean Legge from Lexington signing off. We'll see you in Jacksonville. Make sure to watch this video right here.